I'm going to present now some of the basic comments, the basic findings that we found for the MPI 2014. This year, the MPI 2014 has it's covering 108 countries, and that home 5.4 billion people, or around 78% of the world's population. We are covering now. We are using now data from 2002 to 2013, being China the only country that dates back to 2002. When the MPI was initially launched, the data that was used was between 2000 and 2008, and now we have 57 countries that are actually more recent than that are 2009 or even more recent. So we have been able to update a lot of the information, and we are expecting to update at least 20 more countries in the next round of the MPI. Besides computing the national MPI for these 108 countries, we are also introducing this year decompositions or results by urban and rural areas. And as done in previous years, we are also computing these figures for subnational regions in countries that allow this type of analysis. This year we are covering 780 subnational regions in 69 countries. And we are also computing changes over time in 34 of these set of countries. So I'm going to present now the basic updated analysis. Then Shuman is going to go over the rural-urban findings. Anna is going to comment on changes over time or poverty dynamics. And Shuman is also presenting a measure on inequality among the poor. And as mentioned by Patty, Sabina will close with the new destitution measure. Across these 108 countries that we are analyzing in the MPI 2014, we find that 30% of the people that are living in those countries are identified as multidimensionally poor. That's 1.6 billion people that are in condition of poverty. This is a map that is showing the headcount of poverty, or as Sabina explained a second ago, the proportion of MPI poor people in each country. Countries in green are those with lower levels of poverty, and those countries that move to darker shades, especially the darkest red or crimson color, are those with highest levels of poverty. Niger is once again the poorest country in the whole set. It has been updated with new 2012 data, and we are now finding that 89% of the whole population in the country is multidimensionally poor. This means that now we don't have any country in the data set that has more than 90% of their population in a condition of poverty. However, 43 of the 780 subnational regions that we are analyzing do have over 90% of their population living in poverty. We also find that this year in particular, we have most of the MPI poor that are living in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. 53% of the MPI poor live in South Asia, while nearly 30% of them live in sub-Saharan Africa. And we also find that 71% of the MPI poor, those people identified as multidimensionally poor, are living in middle-income countries. That is, they are not just living in low-income countries identified by the traditional income poverty measure, but rather also in countries that are not considered to be poor by traditional measures. Here in this graph, we depict both the headcount of multidimensionally poverty, that's the bars that we can see in the graph, and the black dots represent the proportion of people that are identified as income poor using the $125 a day poverty line. As we can see in the graph, there is a lot of heterogeneity between these two measures for each of the countries. Here we are only using income poverty data for those countries that have this information available for 3 years prior or after the survey that we use for the MPI computations to be able to provide appropriate comparisons. But basically what we can see from this figure is that these two measures complement each other, that they are in no way substitutes. So now I'm going to pass to Anna for changes over time.
Thank you, Adriana.